And now coming over to the side where you're actually going to access the tent, push up, and you're ready to sleep. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. We are out here camping once again. We took just a week break from the big camp trip that we did. Now we are camping again in Colorado. Finding this spot today was difficult. We went to some easy spots initially because a lot of the actual four-wheel drive trails are still closed because we just got snow up here in Colorado. Claudia's here. So we were trying easy spots, nothing worked out. We did a huge loop all through the foothills and finally came back to our old faithful spot up here. We got Jake over here. We got Ryan with his truck, Claudia with the 4Runner, and I dropped the Kimbo. I now have a new setup, which I'm gonna show you guys today, and it's kind of crazy, not gonna lie. Today I'm taking full advantage of the Axis Cab long bed because up on top here, I have a huge tent. This is something new. I'm just testing it out. I went and picked this up yesterday from the folks at Freespirit Recreation, go FSR. This company is local to Colorado and this is their Evolution hardtop tent. I don't have time for a full dedicated review of this thing, so I'm just gonna kind of show you guys run and gun how to set it up, things I like about it, things I don't like about it, and if I were to keep a tent like this on my truck full time, I'm going to show you some things that I would do to really dial in the setup. All right, so initial setup for this thing. This is not an ideal setup for this tent, but we made it work for the time being because I'm only going to have this tent for a few days, I think. There are typically latches in the front, which we took off because the fitment is super tight. I believe it's about 85 inches front to rear, and it does overhang the rear of the bed just a little bit. However, with my rear tire carrier setup from C4, it actually fits and it doesn't look too out of place. One thing that you will notice is that I did have to remove my max tracks because they would kind of come up at an angle and hit this. But there are other options for that, like the Running for Tacos mounts on the front runner rack, which I previously had on the truck. And there's tracks all along the side of this tent so I could mount Rotopacks and max tracks and stuff to this tent. Now let me show you how this thing sets up. Super high quality latches. Just pop them open. We've got basically two on each corner, typically. Got one back here. On this side, we slid this one out a little bit because it was kind of bumping into the tire. So nice and modular. You can make it work with pretty much any setup that you have. And this is the last latch here. Now I'm showing you guys this in real time while explaining it. So if I was doing this without explaining it, I could honestly have this tent completely set up and ready to sleep in about 30 seconds. So this side is the actual back of the tent. I would actually prefer it to flip it around, put it on the passenger side of the truck, but it is what it is. So I'll simply lift this up. And now coming over to the side where you're actually going to access the tent, push up, and you're ready to sleep. sort of like a straight pop-up, but also the roof kind of extends out a little bit, so it sort of acts as like a rain guard at the same time. All of these tents do come with a ladder as well, and this is actually nice. You can store it inside of the tent if you want to. I just had this in the back of the bed. Clips onto the side, telescopes down, and that's pretty much it. Now, like I mentioned, you can store this ladder inside of the tent, and you can also store bedding, and this to me is huge. In here we have a blanket, my hover quilt from Aeronaut Outdoors, and 2 pillows, so I don't have to worry about packing all this stuff. If I had this tent full time, I would just leave my stuff in here and never even worry about it. So now for the inside of this tent. This is the 55-inch version, so inside dimensions we're looking at about 55 by 80 on the inside. I should also mention that when this thing is closed up, it's only about 9 inches thick. The way I have it mounted to the truck keeps it basically level with my roof line or my roof rack, like you guys saw on the way in here. And again, it's not the ideal setup. There are some things that I would change, and I'll tell you guys about that, but this thing is roomy. This would typically sleep like maybe 2 to 3 people, and it's all contained right on the top of my Diamondback cover, which is nice. We have 360 panoramic views here, so we've got little windows with bug screens over here on this side. Hello.
You have a nice view right here.
Come check out the new tent.
Come in.
And then of course this massive opening here is
Look at it.
big up here. We have another window over here, which I might as well open up. Oh, and the coolest thing about this, which I haven't even mentioned yet, this tent is sort of like a multi-season tent, and here in Colorado, like I just mentioned, it's been snowing, and it's June, which is dumb, but it is what it is. With other tents, like the one that I was previously using, I had an insulated cover, which works well. However, these FSR tents are made out of their tri-layer material, so it's basically insulated all the way around, which is awesome. It's not gonna get super cold tonight, so we won't probably be cold at all anyway, but we just brought 2 blankets and pillows. You can sort of see the insulation that's built in here, and it's just what you should have when you're in Colorado. There's a lot of other features that I'll show you guys in a little bit, like we have an integrated light bar up here, which you simply plug in. You have light in your tent. The tri-layer insulation is also found on the top of the tent. So we have a little mesh screen here. What's cool about this feature is that obviously heat rises. So if it is hot out, supposedly the heat will rise up to here, and then there's a cross breeze across the actual top aluminum honeycomb shell of this tent, and it should keep things cool in here. There's vents on the outside. There's just so many cool features to this tent, and hopefully we'll get some good use out of it. Now we've got the drinks going. Let's check out Ryan's truck. Are you digging it?
I'm digging it.
So just the other day, Ryan and I went into Running for Tacos, and that's kind of the reason why he came back here to Colorado to hang out with us for a while, but also so they could work on his truck. So what Ryan did was essentially the same, almost same exact suspension setup that I have on the Satlander. Up front, he has Fox 2.5 DSC with the upgraded 650-pound springs in there, SPC upper control arms with Duro bumps as well. In the rear, he also opted for the Tundra Fox 2.5 DSC Deaver Stage 2 leaf packs, and then instead of the Firestone Ride airbags, he just has regular bumps in the back. He's running 285/70s on the same wheels, Black Rhino Abrams. How'd it drive compared to the other couple days? Yeah,
So much better.
So much better than stock. We also paid Jake a visit, and he's got some new stripes on here on the side. I also put my older Alpha X taillights in here because I have some new ones on mine, which I'll show you guys in a second. We installed Running for Tacos rock sliders. We've done a lot. It does. It looks completely different. I think this is my favorite touch here. The old school Toyota colors up in the front grille. Things coming along, man. So speaking of those taillights that I gave to Ryan, these are the new Alpha X Lux Series taillights. I showed you these in the Expo video, and you'll kind of be able to tell here if I lock the truck. The turn signals are now sequential, which match the front, which match the Running for Tacos mirror turns that I have. Super clean look when they're not dirty, kind of blacked out on the inside. They really fit the truck well, and they're all LED and have LED reverse lights as well, so nice and bright at night. Since we are back to the summer setup now, I've got the roam boxes back in the truck, all of my cooking gear and everything. I actually got a new lantern from Big Tent Outdoors. This is coming from Claymore. This is the saline lantern that I basically rant and rave about whenever I show it in a video. This one, however, is gray and black, matches the truck. So while the new tent does have a light in it, probably going to be using this guy tonight just because they're so damn cool. Now before the sun goes completely down, let me show you guys a few more cool features about this FSR Evolution. These struts right here are able to hold 320 pounds, and they, I believe in the future, are going to release some that are 500 pound rated. So you'll be able to put crossbars on the top of these hard shell tents. You can mount solar, you can do all sorts of stuff. Also inside here, I'm running one of their prototype mattresses. This thing is kind of new, but I'm not sure when it will be available. You will see here that there are little plugs. If I pop this open, it's sort of like memory foam. And down here in the back of the tent, I have a Coleman little pump. So I'm gonna pump this thing up to get it to our desired firmness, and I think we're gonna be sleeping super well in here tonight. Now having one of these might be a little bit overkill for this mattress because it is foam on the inside, so you can suck the air out of it, and then if you just open those vents, it will sort of suck air in so the foam can kind of pump itself up. Feels nice and cushy, better than just a standard mattress that used to come in tents like this. Now a few final things that I can think about this tent while we're just sort of like running and gunning. Again, this is not a full review, but hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys a full review in the future. This tent, this specific model, exactly how it sits right now, weighs 172 pounds because if you look underneath here, there's no like wood or anything to add weight to this. It gets all of its rigidity from the aluminum frame to it, and then this underpad here is weather sealed somehow. It's basically just how Jake's tent is, which I showed you guys in a video a while ago. So it's just the slats and then this like weather sealed sort of foam pad underneath here. It keeps the tent relatively lightweight, and really this only weighs 22 pounds more than my tent, so it's not too bad. So coming back around to the front of the tent, these are the little vents that I was talking about. They're mesh up inside of here and have these little standoffs here. So if you want to have that closed, simply push that up and close the Velcro. That way you have the tri-layer material here keeping you warm. Or if you need some breeze, pop that out, put the little prop on the vent, and now you'll have air circulating through here, which is very nice. Now for some final first impressions before we actually sleep in this, one thing that I would change are these mounts. I have the front runner rack, which is coming from Diamondback, so I love this setup. It keeps the tent nice and low to the roof. However, these brackets are not my favorite. You can tell they're sort of made for a round style bar like you would find on the Yakima overhaul racks, which I do have, and that would actually work perfect with this tent on my truck. I just haven't had the time to change that out yet. So we sort of flatten these brackets. They do have a little rubber piece on there to protect everything, and then just sort of like hand screw mounts on there. What I would do is make custom brackets that fit this bar perfectly, and then instead of using the hand tighteners, I would actually put probably nylon locking nuts on there. It would make it just a little bit cleaner. As we were bumping around off-road, this did end up getting pretty close to the cab, but it was already close to begin with. No rubbing issues or anything. The tent seems to be on there pretty solid. But again, if this was my tent, I would probably make some custom brackets for it and get it super dialed in. I would put the Running for Tacos mounts back on the front runner rack. That way I could have the max tracks because I cannot have them on the back over here. And in an absolute ideal world, if there are any tent manufacturers out there watching this, I would love to see, might just be me, maybe not, a hard shell tent, whether it's a pop-up like this or a clamshell, that is about 6 feet, so 72 inches. Outside dimension of this again is 85, so If you made a tent that fit perfectly on an Axis cab, that would be so cool. You could leave it flush with the roof line like I have it here, get better miles per gallon while you're driving. The average height in America for dudes is 5'9". For females, it's 5'4". So tall people might not want to sleep in a tent that is not 6 feet tall, or 6 feet long, I should say. But for the most part, I don't really know anyone that sleeps straight out like a stick. I typically curl up a little bit, especially when it's cold up here in the mountains. So those are some of my thoughts. Once we actually get around to sleeping in this thing, I'm sure I will have more thoughts for you then. Food time. We got the Coleman run-in. We're having some spicy mango jalapeno sausages. You want one of those? We also have andouille, Cajun style, or just regular hot dogs. That's what I want. What kind of wiener would you like?
Duck. You got duck?
No duck wieners, no. Ashley's now the wiener handler.
On a toasted bun?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want andouille style, or do you want jalapeno mango?
Elevation.
He's squirting at me.
They're all gonna do that.
We're getting demonetized for sure.
All right, guys, sun is going down. We're gonna get ready to start a fire here. We didn't bring any firewood on our 6-hour excursion to go an hour from home. So we scrounged through and pulled a bunch of dead stuff off of the floor of the forest. This stuff is gonna burn super quick. Ellie's here. Say hi, Ellie.
Say hi.
And then little Jake over here. What's up, Torin? Those marshmallow things you were telling me about?
Pre-made s'mores.
Dude, those look super good. I forgot to mention at the start of this video, but we just passed 100,000 followers on Instagram. So huge thank you to everyone who follows me over there. Woo! So to celebrate 100,000 followers over on Instagram, we're gonna be doing a pretty big giveaway. Ryan is a part of it, Jake is a part of it, and a few other companies. So let me actually grab my phone and give you a rundown of what we got. So if you go over to my Instagram, you can find this photo right here, and I will put all the details on how to enter over there. First on the list, we have Ryan's contribution to the giveaway. He came out to Flagstaff Expo with a bunch of our collab blades and stuff like that, but he also made some one-off customs. I picked my favorite custom. That thing is so sick. So one of the prizes is this guy right here. This is a completely handmade giant Tonto chopper. G10 handles, huge sheath to go along with that thing, and that is a custom one of one right now from Ryan at Two Feathers. That is one of the prizes. Next up, we have a $300 gift card from this guy over here, Lucid Rock.
Lucid!
So hopefully whoever wins is somewhat close to the area, and you get a gift card to put towards some paint protection like this here, or like Claudia's, or something small like Ryan's, or something really crazy like Jake and his own truck. Next on the list, we have Running for Tacos, who donated some lower control arm skids directly from them. I think you're going to be able to pick which vehicle they would go on, but generally it's going to be for a Tacoma or a 4Runner. The next prize is a 1-year subscription, elite membership to Onyx Off-Road, huge supporter of the channel, and they're also going to throw in some swag into that whole deal. We also have a new company on board who I've been friends with for a little while now, and I don't have all of my gear from them in the truck right now. I've got some of it here. We've got a little piece of recovery gear here from Deadman Off-Road. These are some of their soft shackles. These are great for a lot of winch situations, any kind of pulling situations, and I'm leaving this thing in the truck for a while. I'm also gonna have some of their kinetic ropes in here at some point. While we're inside the truck here, we also have Black Ops Off-Road jumping on board. They're giving away a throttle grenade. This thing is super handy for a lot of off-road situations, and I still need to bring you guys a full dedicated video on that. So that's another prize. Last but not least, probably one of the best prizes.
You win me.
You win, Claudia. No one wants that. No one's gonna enter now. The final prize is one of these babies right here, a Diamondback cover of your choosing. This happens to be the HD rack with the cleats, fit for an Axis cab, but Whenever we pick the winner, we'll make sure that it goes to the right person. I'm gonna try to pick one winner for this entire thing, and I'm gonna pick it randomly and then sort of vet their account to make sure they're following everyone and to make sure they're a good fit to be a winner. But if not, we might have to break it up into a few different winners. So again, to find all the details on how to enter, go follow me over on Instagram, find that post, and we're gonna let it run for 2 weeks, and then I'll pick a winner. I'll announce it in my stories, and I will DM you. There's gonna be a lot of spam accounts kind of baiting on people. It just happens on Instagram. So if you enter, beware. There's gonna be some fake accounts out there. There always are, and Instagram doesn't do anything about it, but I will DM you personally from my own account if you win. So go check it out and enter. You ready to do this?
Yeah. After I get my boots off.
I brought my own blanket, the hover quilt. Alright, check this out. So the saline lantern that I talk about all the time from Claymore, you can get them at Running for Tacos, Big Tent Outdoors. This tent has hooks in the corner, so I can hook the lantern right up here in the corner. Another cool thing about these lanterns is that you can charge stuff off of them. So if I plug in this USB cable, that is so cool. That ambiance. Big old zipper pulls on these guys here. I'm gonna zip it over to this corner so we know where the ladder is. Alright, this is the inside of the Evolution. So again, what's cool about this tent is their tri-layer material, so it should be pretty warm in here. I've got all of the vents closed up. I got the ceiling vent closed up. This light panel is Velcro, so you can pull that off if you wanted to. You could probably put it somewhere else. We've got storage compartments up here, which I could drop like a portable battery into. On the outside, I don't have them on this tent, but they do have little things to hold your shoes, which is super cool, and other items and stuff like that. One thing that I did not show earlier was this big door here. So the whole door, of course, has the insulation, and then the bug screen on this one is just sort of a half zip. So you don't have to worry about rolling up multiple screens like a bug screen and then the actual outside of the tent. It all rolls up together, and then for the clasps, up top you basically take this Velcro, put it through a loop, and then Velcro it to itself. So pretty cool design. What else we got in here? Besides a ton of space. There's a lot of room in here.
I can't even touch you. Okay, well I can touch your feet.
So tonight, we're not using any electric blanket, no diesel heater, nothing other than
old school camping.
Just a blanket on top of this mattress and the hover quilt. I think it's gonna be pretty warm. So I think that's all that I have for tonight. We're gonna try to get to sleep, and I'll let you guys know how it was in the morning. Good morning again, everyone. It is about 8:30 in the morning. I slept pretty dang good in here. Ashley didn't sleep all night for whatever reason, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Were you comfortable at least?
Yes.
It was kind of hot, honestly.
It's the hottest I've ever been in a rooftop tent.
Yeah. Granted, it wasn't super cold last night. It probably went down really only into like the 40s. But I woke up at about 3:30 in the morning, just hot. So this triple layer insulation definitely works. I basically just slept in my boxers and a t-shirt. Didn't even need that, honestly. And then this morning when I woke up, I guess one of the cons of this tent is that there is a little bit of light in here, which most rooftop tents do allow a little bit of light in. As you can tell, we've got like this strip over here. The vents on each side allow light in. I kind of had the expectation of this thing being like the high country, like Jake's tent. I was inside of that thing midday and it was like black, which I like. However, it's not too bad in here. It's also nice when there is a little bit of light coming in the morning to kind of wake you up while you're camping. Because it was so warm in here this morning, I opened this little top hatch here and you could sort of feel the heat rising out of here, and then the wind will just sort of blow it away. As far as the walls go, there's really no condensation anywhere except this wall. Don't know why that is. It's not like a ton, but I would definitely want to let that dry out. So let's actually Open this up. Let the morning sun come in. Ah, it's nice out here.
Don't do it.
I'm doing it. It's nice. It was hot, dude.
Hot all night.
Yeah.
It was like 3:30 in the morning. I was like...
woke up from the sun because it was shining.
Alright guys, it's been 2 hours since I last filmed because we ran into an issue, so I actually have to close this tent quickly. This is like a real world use here because, let me show you. Kahlo, Claudia's dog, is inside the car and he stepped on her keys last night and we are locked out. We spent the last 2 hours trying to get in here with wires, pull this down with duct tape, and we've had no luck. We don't have criminal gear to break into cars. So I'm gonna put this tent down quickly and I gotta run down and pick up the rescue guys because they're probably not gonna be able to make it up here. So starting inside the tent, we have all of our gear in here. Like I said, I can close this with everything in here. I could also put the ladder in here, but I'm just gonna throw that in the back when we're done. So coming around to the back side of the tent, you have this nice little pull tab here. Simply pull down on it. Step one. There's no straps or anything to like pull the sides in because you honestly don't really need it. So just simply pull this closed, kind of tuck the sides in. How are we looking over there? Now pull this down, latch up. They are on the top. You could flip these around if you want to. Boom, boom, boom. Couple more booms.
Couple more booms.
Boom.
Boom.
That's it.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
All the gear in there would take like maybe a minute, maybe less than that. For the ladder, just telescopes, like almost every other ladder. Pops right off. Velcro around. Fold that flap. Now let's see if we can get Claudia out of here. Alright guys, we've made it back from our camp trip, and while this wasn't an ideal trip to actually test out and give you guys a full dedicated review of the tent, I did what I could to kind of show you how it was living with it, even though it was just a one-night trip, and I really like this tent. When it comes to being a multi-season tent, this thing with the tri-layer fabric on there seems like it did a really good job. Although it didn't get super cold last night, I could definitely feel it was warmer than just a regular tent with some regular tent material on the walls, and that's kind of what you need when you're in Colorado. In the morning when it was warm, I did open that top vent and we could have put the windows down, and I think the breeze would have came through and knocked out that heat pretty quickly. Living in Colorado, I would rather have a tent that leaves me a little bit warmer than a tent that is not warm enough because, like I said, we've been getting snow here even though it's June, and I like being warm and comfortable while we're out camping. Now for a few more thoughts as far as pros and cons go, the build quality of this thing is awesome. I really like the track system on here. The latches are great. The 360 view is super cool, and the fact that the tent pops straight up is really nice as well. I was a little bit skeptical about the underside of this tent because I wasn't sure how something like that would hold up, and I don't know for sure yet, but it seems like it is fairly waterproof. There wasn't any dust in the tent, which is really nice, of course. With a tent this long on an access cab, it works, and it actually works pretty damn well with my exact setup with the swing out tire carrier and all of that. One thing that I would definitely change though are these mounts. These mounts are not great for my specific rack. If I were to leave this tent on any longer, I would probably go to my buddy who has a CNC machine and CNC my own like custom made brackets for that. Instead of using the hand tight little nuts on here, I would definitely get like some nylock nuts and washers and all sorts of hardware on there so that thing would stay solid. Since I came up that trail, which was pretty rough without snow on it, I went back down, back up, and then back down again. The tent did shift a little bit. I did have to tighten these up once we got down to the bottom. But like I said, these brackets are not really intended for this style of rack, so that's something that I would change. I would of course have to change my max track setup for my recovery boards. I have them on my swing out normally, so I would probably go back to the Running for Tacos mounts where I can mount them on the rack, or I could just mount them right to the side of the tent as well, which would probably be a pretty good option. The mattress, I didn't even talk about the mattress yet. That thing was awesome. I probably could have put a little more air into it, but it's definitely better than just a foamy 1-inch thick typical rooftop tent mattress that you'll find with a bunch of different companies out there. Again, I'm not sure when those are going to be coming out, but hopefully sometime soon because I slept great. Outside of that, I don't think I have anything to add as of right now. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to get a loaner tent like this again, and I'll be able to go out and really give it a test, maybe over a couple weeks, maybe like a 2-week long trip. That way I could really live with the tent, bring you guys a full detailed review of this thing. But hopefully this sheds some light on FSR. If you guys have any questions on this Evolution tent, let me know in the comments down below. I'll also leave a link to their website where you can find out all the information possible. Let me know what tent you guys want to see me review next. I'm not stuck with any specific company. I really like testing out different gear, so there's a lot of tents that have caught my eye, and this was definitely one of them. Glad I had the chance to check it out. Huge thanks to FSR for loaning me this for over the weekend. And that is all for today. If you guys are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week. As always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.